Hey guys, it's Jordan from Vaping Haven again, and today I have a first impressions video on the Vamo V2, and I'm going to be using the Kanger Pro Tank 3. You guys may remember if you've seen the unboxing video, I did start out with the Kanger Pro Tank Mini 2, but since then I've moved on to the Pro Tank 3, and the Mini Pro Tank 2 is actually in use by my mother at the moment. I'm trying to get her to quit smoking cigarettes, which may prove to be more difficult than I realized, but so far she's really liked the Kanger Mini Pro Tank 2. I had a good experience with it. I had about 7 replaceable coils if you include the 2 that initially came with it. And the Mini Pro Tank 2 was a good unit. Muted flavor though, I will say, based on everything that I've used, cartomizers, tanks, glassamizers in the case of these Kanger Pro Tanks. And I haven't really had as much of an issue with the Pro Tank 3. A lot of people claim to have some gurgling and leaking issues. I haven't gotten this to gurgle even once, and I've already filled it up probably about 8 or 9 times. But I have a little bit of liquid left in there, and it's some of the extreme soda from MtBakerVapor, which I have right here. It's a 100%, or close to 100%, it's a max VG blend, very thick. I already gave it a hot water bath to steep it a little bit, and other than that, it's been open and closed with my usual steeping method. But I'm just going to give a couple vapes and kind of show you the vapor production. Again, it is pretty low, so I may fill it mid-video to give you more realistic use. But for now, I'm just going to vape it, and I'm vaping at about 10 watts, and I'm just going to do a straight to lung hit. So plenty of vapor, definitely. The flavor's great. It really came into its own once I filled it a few times and it had kind of broken in, per se. But I want to get a little bit more in depth about the Vamo itself, rather than just the tank that I'm using. I did go ahead and pick up some carbon fiber vinyls, and the first one that I picked up is the black in the center. It was a separate piece. I purchased the black from vinylforthewin.com. And they're a great company, first of all, because when I did a search to find skins for the Vamo V2, the main things that I found were anywhere from $15 to $20. I've seen them even higher when you want the custom picture put on them. But I found this site, and it's kind of an odd circumstance, because this site only makes, from what I remember, they only make skins for the Vamo. So I believe it's the Vamo V1, V2, and possibly the V4. I'm pretty sure the 3 and the 5 are the ones that went with that different design, so they would be a little bit different. But I paid $8, and the shipping was free on it, and it was vinylforthewin.com, and I will post a link to that in the description for you to check out yourself. But what I did separately from that, it just came with the black, so what I did was I went on eBay, and I found samples of the golden carbon fiber vinyl sticker, which they use in cars for dash pieces and various parts of the car. So I went ahead and bought a 1" by 8" sample, and that was only $1 with free shipping, and that showed up to me in 3 days from California to Connecticut, which is quite the haul, and it showed up in 3 days, and I paid $1 for it with shipping. So what I did was I used the black on the the whole center part. If I break this down, it's got a separate sticker for the extension for the 18650 batteries, and so I wrapped those parts up, matched it up with the LCD and the buttons, and after I was done with that, I went ahead and cut out from the 1" by 8" sheet that I received just big enough pieces so that they would cover the top ring part and the bottom ring part, which is the battery cover. And I mean, they're not 100% perfect, but they're pretty much, they look pretty sleek. You can just barely, and I'm sure you won't be able to make it out on camera, but there are lines where the sticker, overlaps. They do overlap a little bit. But to just look at it and, walk by it, or somebody sees me using it, it looks pretty solid. It looks like black and gold, which I think looks pretty awesome considering this is about $9 worth of vinyl. and I still have golden vinyl left over. Other than that, I mean, along with that, I noticed the Vamo V2 was very prone to scratches, very, very prone to fingerprints because it was the gunmetal, very glossy. I couldn't keep it without fingerprints for longer than a couple seconds. The second you put it in your hand, the heat from your hand goes right into it, leaves clouds of discoloration all over the material. The V2 is an amazing product. It is a Chinese product. I'm sure if it was under a higher standard, they might build it with something a little bit better as far as the outer coating. But the material itself is heavy duty. The V2 is I was very surprised. I've seen a lot of various mentions of it on sites where people got clones, and people have seen problems right out of the box with the 510 fitting. People have issues stripping it very early on. But what you need to know is when you go ahead and put a tank on it, you want to turn it so that it's snug, and then as soon as it gets a little bit snug, turn it a little bit more, and that's about all you need. You go any further than that, then you might strip your 510 and the whole unit might be working, but if the 510 fitting isn't working, then you're not going to get a heck of a lot of power through your tank. It would help if I had a battery in there. But anyway, so again, good vapor, very good performance from the Vamo V2. It is the first mod that I've ever had, so I've been nothing but thrilled with its performance, considering I only spent about $45 on MyVaporStore.com, but very impressed. And I did forget to mention, I also did cut out what is almost a circle for the button, because the button did kind of scrape and discolor a little bit just from the week and a half that I used it. So it's not a perfect circle. I can't cut out a perfect circle that small, but from a distance, if I look at it from a couple feet away, it looks just fine. I have no complaints about it. I don't plan on trying to do it again. This is exactly what I need it for, and it looks good, so. So running at about 11 watts, I get a lot of vapor. Has more to do with the tank, I'm sure. As far as batteries go, what I had, and if you've seen it in the unboxing video, then you already know, but if you didn't, and you're just watching this video on its own, I picked up a 2250 mAh, which is milliamps per hour for those of you who don't know. It's a 2250 mAh Efest IMR 18650, and it's a 3.7 volt battery. And it's the high drain version, so I think you get about 10 amps is the maximum that it can put out at any given moment. And the other smaller battery which I have, which is the 18350 model of the battery, is the Efest 3.7 volt 800 mAh, and it's an IMR battery, and it's high drain as well. Now, running it with the 18650, I've yet to really run it down to what I believe the limit is, and I think low, but where the Vamo will just completely cut off and tell you that you can't vape because it's too low. It'll say low, LO, right on the LCD, and you won't be able to vape anymore. And that's just to make sure that you're being safe with the amount that you're discharging your battery. You never want it to fall beyond, I believe it's 2.4, but it might even just be, I won't ever bring them past about 3.5. I notice power loss. I notice that my vapor goes way down. So I don't usually even really use it past that. But with my experience, just going down to 3.5 with the 18650, I can vape heavy for, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours and just start to go down to about 3.6, 3.5. And then I could probably go for a couple more hours. So I think the most you could probably get out of this, I think at, using it between anywhere from 4 to 5 volts when I'm using it with voltage, and then when I'm using wattage, which I still go back and forth between because I'm still getting to know it. This is my first variable voltage, variable wattage mod. I usually like to hover around anywhere from 9 watts to about 12, some of the warmer flavors, and I could probably get a solid 8 hours out of it, and maybe even 9 if I was willing to go any further down in the voltage. But to let it to go all the way to low, probably be about 12 hours of vaping, which for me, more than sufficient. And with the 18350 battery, it's 800 mAh compared to 2250. You're going to get a lot less usage out of it, being that it is it's half the size, the 18350. So it's good for maybe 3 hours discharging it down to about 3.5. You could go a little bit further and maybe get 4, 4.5, maybe 5 hours. I haven't pushed it that far yet, but I'm definitely happy with even the small battery, because if you can get 12 out of the first charge on the big battery, and then you end up coming down to this, which you can get another 4, maybe 5 hours out of it, 17 hours of vaping between 2 batteries. And between these 2 batteries, it was less than $20. And if you include the shipping, which also covered the Vamo as well. I mean, it's anything less than $20 for 17 hours of continuous use of my Vamo. I'm more than happy to spend that much money. I went with good brands. I bought the soda Efest charger, which I've had no problems with. It doesn't even really get considerably hot. I keep it on anything. You have to keep those chargers, particularly the ones that deal with these specific kinds of batteries. You like to put them on anything that's not flammable. So I have a metal case that I put my e-cig equipment in. I leave it on top of that, and I always make sure to unplug it when nothing's charging. You never just want to leave it plugged in. It's bound for something to go wrong. So I've had no problems. The Vamo's been great. I'm very, very happy that I decided to go into the variable voltage, variable wattage field of vaping and kind of go a little bit further out and get away from the standard ego batteries and the junk cartomizers a lot of the time. Not all of them are junk, but I've already used quite a few that are junk, that burn, that do weird things, that leak, that do things that I really can't figure out how to fix. No matter how many times I go on YouTube and search for fixes and, troubleshooting and gurgling and leaking, there's really no way to fix those things. You really just have to take a step up and buy some better hardware. But I'm really loving this Vamo V2. I don't see the need to really buy a new mod anytime soon. I've been looking at the KTS line, which I believe is Camry Telescopics, I believe, is the company that makes it. It's another thing that is provided at MtBakerVapor.com. I've been looking into those a bit. They're the first mechanical mod that I've taken a look at. They are a bit on the lower end as far as price range is concerned. I may be able to pick one up for like about $35. And maybe even with a bit of searching, I could find it cheaper elsewhere. Don't really like to take the risk though, because you could end up with a clone, and it's really hard to say until you get it in the box and look at it. And even then, it may be hard to tell if it's a clone or not. I don't really know if they have any ways of verifying their authenticity, if there's a serial number, but I have to look into it a bit more. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Vamo V2. These are just first impressions. As I said, a week and a half, 2 weeks. I will be making a review of this. It will be a little bit more in depth. I will have a bunch of numbers in front of me, and I will have plenty of specs for you guys. But in the meantime, I'm really enjoying this. I'm really looking forward to trying out more juices. I've already picked up a plethora of MtBakerVapor juices. I will read off the list for you real quick, just to let you guys know what reviews are going to be coming up soon. I got the Ecto Cooler for MtBakerVapor. I have Caramel Candy. I have the Green Apple. I also have the Arnold Palmer, which is very good. I have Rainbow Roundies, which I have mentioned in the past, and I have finally gotten to the stage where I think I'm ready to review it. I will not be reviewing all of these because I have too much liquid at this point, but I will be reviewing my favorites, as well as if any of these come out to be terrible, I'll also let you guys know about that. I also have Hawk Sauce, which you guys already know about. I have Extreme Ice, which is great, but it's also running out because it's my favorite. And I also have Raspberry Lemonade, which I already told you guys about, and that one's about halfway gone. So, and plus the Extreme Soda, which I already told you guys about in this video. So I have a lot of vapor at this point. I have a lot of choices to go through whenever I want to refill now, which is good. Really enjoying my experience so far. I'm into mods and I'm never going back. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. I will be getting into that review probably in a week or two for the Vamo. I probably want to give it a full month just to make sure nothing goes wrong and everything's still good. But in the meantime, guys, keep vaping, and this is Vaping Haven out.